Hello everyone, it's Victoria DeJounte here, and we are on week 2 of reading The Artist's Way. And y'all, I am in a rude awakening. I knew this would not be easy because who knew a book would be able to allow you to do such a deep dive into your mental, but it is. And I am staying strong because I cannot afford. That's literally been my mantra this week. I cannot afford to care. I cannot afford to give up. I just can't afford to do any of that. And I know I sound silly. I sound like whatever, but this is very much true to my mental health. This is very much true to my my well-being. Like, it sounds like something that people repeat to some bull crap or something like that, but when you are in a state of mind where you feel like it's now or never, you start getting insane. You start feeling insane. You start doing things that are just like boom. And it's crazy because with this week, it's talking about recovering a sense of identity. And here is some of the notes that I've taken down. You know, I said I've taken down a few notes. If you've been catching up, if you watched the previous video, I went in how I use my book to take notes, write quotes, and just all the other stuff, do my morning pages. I am on the last page of this, so I will have to get a new book. But okay, starting off, I just said how I felt like I was going insane because I have to go insane in order to do these things. What's crazy is this starts off saying, week 2 starts off saying going sane. And what they mean, I wrote little notes about it, but basically what they're saying is, in order to feel like you're doing something, you have to feel like you're going crazy. In order to get closer to what you really want, what you really dream of, you have to feel like you're going crazy, because everybody else is basically living in a sanity, but you have to live outside of that norm. So that is something that I've really been sticking heavy with. Gaining strength to attack the self-doubt. That's self-explanatory. You have to gain strength to attack the self-doubt that's deep down in your mind. Do not show people your morning pages. You can tell them, but don't show them. That has been one of my moments. I have not shown anybody my morning pages. I won't even basically tell them about it. I'll tell them that I've been journaling, and you know, you should really try, give them advice, tips, things like that. But showing people, absolutely not. Telling people what you're writing about, absolutely not. Don't do that. Won't recommend. Nah. Anyways, and I say that because you just don't want that energy, whether it's good intentions or bad, or you just don't want any energy attached to something that you're striving for, attached to something you're doing that's going to better you mentally. So that's why I said that. Poisonous playmates. Now, they brought up a few of these things, and poisonous playmates are people who creatively are blocked by not asking God / the creator with help. It says you are righteously ignoring your creativity. By not asking God for help, you are ignoring your creativity, I'm sorry. And then it says blocked friends, because remember, we talked about poisonous playmates. Poisonous playmates are people who are creatively blocked. Those blocked friends must hit a block in your life. They must hit a block in your life. You have to set boundaries. You have to, because you will go down with them. Not saying they're dragging you down purposely, but you will go down with them if you don't set any boundaries, because you want to live this life. They want to, but they are actively not trying to, but you are actively trying to. That is your time to hold off and set a boundary. They are getting a payoff from remaining blocked. These people sometimes, they get off on remaining what they are. They feel they're okay with being in comfort. They're not okay with living in uncomfortability. I'm trying to say that word, whatever. But yeah, through and through, set a boundary. To know what you prefer instead of humbly saying amen to what you would. Wait. To know what you prefer instead of humbly saying amen to what the world tells you you ought to prefer is to have kept your soul alive. Now let me read this again together. To know what you prefer instead of humbly saying amen to what the world tells you you ought to prefer is what keeps your soul alive. This is a quote by Robert Louis Stevenson. So another few things that I have written down, it says don't expect block friends to applaud recovery. Be alert to subtle sabotage friends. Be careful to safeguard your newly recovering artist. Now I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I have been having struggle with this because how do I say without saying it too much, but I just been feeling like engaging with block friends creatively have caused me to self-sabotage myself. And my biggest thing right now is just setting a boundary, because I don't want to fall in a loop or a hole of not growing, not doing what I want to do. And that's all I have to say. This part really had me teary. It had my heart heavy, and I was just thinking about a lot of things because I relate so much on it, and I relate so much to this section of it. The next section, well actually I added a little note for something to add on to this section. This particular part, when it was talking about like self-sabotaging yourself for like friends and blocked friends or whatever. So I added, the most dangerous thing is when someone tells you about your light and acknowledge their lack of something, leaving it a weird space between am I too much and tone it down, or do I allow it to feed my ego and turn it up. That's the best way to describe it. That's the best way to what I talk about when I experience and stuff like that. Another thing, a thing creatives do to avoid being creative are crazy makers. Now they talked about crazy makers a lot. Let me give you a few examples of what crazy makers are. Oh my gosh. So crazy makers are people who break deals and destroy schedules, expect special treatment, deny being crazy, discount your reality, create drama, spend your time and money, hate schedules, triangulate those they deal with, accept their own, experts at blaming, and they hate order. Those are crazy makers. Stay away from crazy makers, please. And if you involve yourself with crazy makers, you are only self-sabotaging yourself. You cannot blame. We just talked about how crazy makers are people who blame others for their things, for other things. So if you blame other people, you are part of the problem. You are a crazy maker yourself. Okay? Okay. So the next time you catch yourself saying, they're driving me crazy, and so it says, the next time you catch yourself saying, they're driving me crazy, ask yourself, what creative work are you trying to block by involving yourself? Also, let me just put a side note. I've really been trying to focus on not being on social media as much this week, because social media is poisonous. It's toxic. It's draining. And I'm just over it. If I'm not posting on there, I don't want to be on there. So, other than that, skepticism. That's one of the words, the topics that was highlighted. In other words, they call it secret doubt. The reason we think it's weird to imagine the unseen helping hand is that we still doubt that it's okay for us to be seen. Creative recovery is an exercise in open-mindedness. So, you have this secret doubt. you have to open your mind. You have to imagine and do what you imagine. You think it's weird because it stays up here, but you have to live out what you have. If you wouldn't imagine, if you couldn't, or I don't know how to say it, like if you didn't have the ability to imagine, then there's no way that it couldn't happen. I don't know how, if I'm saying it correct, but basically, like, if you have the ability to imagine it, you have the ability to do it as well, basically. So next topic, attention. So with the attention, it talks about pain is what it takes sometimes to pay attention. The author gave many examples about how when there's different scenarios, she gave an example on herself, and she also talked about someone's grandmother and their story and their situation. And basically it's like when you go through so many things, and you go through a very painful event, sometimes when you look at the event, when you're in that moment, basically 3 things happen. For an example, your car shut down, you got a ticket, and you are very hungry, you're like starving, or you just, I don't know, those are just small, minor compared to what people real life go through, you know, or whatever. But those are just 3 like events that are unfortunate, inconvenient, things like that. Those 3 events, something happened, those 3 happened all in one day. That is that. What they're saying is not pay attention to what, don't give energy to that painful event. Of course you want to acknowledge it, move on from it, and you don't want to, you know, soak in it. But also in painful events, you take a look around, notice different things. Actually, let me give you the exact example of what the artist said in this painful event. The night my mother died, I got the call, took my sweater, and set out up the hill behind the house. A great snowy moon was rising behind the palm trees. Later that night, it floated above the garden, washing the cactus silver. When I think about now my mother's death, I remember that snowy moon. So the author talks about a parent's death, and instead of course you want to acknowledge it. Let me repeat, I'm not saying, I'm not encouraged to ignore painful things that create trauma and that lingers and all that. What you want to do is just attach the beauty in it. I know this sounds so freaking crazy, but attach some sort of beauty, attach some sort of thing that makes it a little less painful, basically. I remember I did put something in quotations. Let me read what I said. It says, the reward for attention is always healing. It may begin at the healing of a particular pain, the lost lover, the sickly child, the shattered dream, but what is healed finally is the pain that underlies all pain, the pain that we are all utterly alone. My basic principles: every day, night, morning, read those 3 basic principles, and I'm going to read to you what those basic principles are. That actually is from week 1, but basically the basic principles were: creativity is the natural order of life. Life is energy, pure creative energy. There's underlying indwelling creative force infusing all of the life, including ourselves. When we open ourselves to our creativity, we open ourselves to the Creator's creativity within us in our lives. We are ourselves creations, and we in turn are meant to continue creativity by being creative ourselves. Creativity is God's gift to us. Using creativity is our gift back to us, to God. The refusal to be creative is self-will and counter to our true nature. When we open ourselves to exploring our creativity, we open ourselves to God, good orderly direction. As we open our creative channel to the Creator, many gentle but powerful changes are to be expected. It is safe to open ourselves up to greater and greater creativity. Our creative dreams and yearnings come from a divine source. As we move toward our dreams, we move toward our divinity. That is the 3 basic principles. I am going to write them down on my phone because I want to be able to just go and read it whenever throughout the day, just for a daily reminder. I had 10 tasks to do 10. Number 1, affirmations. Doing that anyway, but definitely affirmations. Number 2, it asks me, where does your time go? So I had to list 5 activities this week where I want to do, and then activities that my time goes mostly, and how I can change that if it's bad, how I can balance things out, basically things like that. It also asked me to draw a circle of people, draw a circle of things, and then put the people's name in there, and then also like put ideas or things that I like in the circles or outside the circle, depending. Things that goes on the inside of the circle, or things that you love, things that you want to protect. Things that goes on the outside of the circle, or things that you don't feel as protective about or with, or whomever. Number 3, 20 things you enjoy doing. So I had to write down 20 things that I enjoy doing, and I came up with 20 things. I did. At first I thought I wouldn't be able to, but I did. Number 4, I had to write down 2 of my favorite things that I could do this week, or 2 of the things that I've been avoiding, and then one of those things I actually have to do, which I will. It's tough, but I will. Like I said, y'all, this week has really been like a eye-opening, I don't know, real raw, real vulnerable. Y'all might see me, my shades, my light glitz glamour, my whatever, but I really just want to pull this deep, like I am so fucking hungry that I want to pull this trauma out of me. I want to pull this thing out of me to be able to grow into a beautiful flower, to blossom into the person that I want to be, to blossom into the creative person I should be, to do what I dream of. I know this dream wasn't placed on me for no reason, so don't ever, God makes no mistakes. There are no mistakes made with you, okay? So do these things. I'm telling you, you are perfect just the way you are. You see me, I am literally, like, some days I be talking clear, the other days I be stuttering over my words, I be whatever. Like, I'm not perfect, but I'm good at what I do. I could be better. I could. That's why I'm working on being better. And honestly, sometimes it's hard to even pinpoint of what it is that I do, what it is that because I'm just like a flowing avenue. And it's okay to be a flowing avenue. The world don't like it, society don't like it, but it is okay. Don't let them think that something is wrong with that, okay? So don't let them let you think that, basically, y'all. Number 5, it tells you to go back into the week 1 affirmations that they gave you, that they told you to say, and write 3 of them down 5 times. I did that. Return to the list of your imaginary lives. Remember, we had to write down 5 things, 5 like imaginary lives of things that we wanted to do, we wanted to be, and things like that. So I had to go back and I had to write 5 more. And let's see, what did I write down? Number 7, life I had to draw another circle, because within this circle this time we're talking about ourselves and our pinpoints of our life. So you're going to draw the circle and then do 6 slices. In each slices you're going to do spirituality, exercise, play, romance, friends, and work. Within those 6 sections, you put a dot. If it's good, if it's great, you put a dot on the outside of the circle. If it's not so good, not so great, you put a dot in the inside of each section in the circle. So, of course, I did mine, and it looks kind of like a and that's okay. They said if that happens, you just track that down weekly, work on the things that's not so great, and then after that, you just do it every, track, do your thing, and try to make it better. So there's that. Number 8, write down 10 tiny changes. So you're going to write down 10 things, and each sentence of those 10 things, you start off by saying, I would like to. For an example, I say, I would like to go to paint in a park. That's one. And it's tiny, it's small, it's something I could do tomorrow, it's something I could do, you know, whenever. Just write down little tiny things like that and then check those off. Number 9, select one of those small items. Make it a goal this week to do. I can make it a goal to do. I still have so much time. I could do that. And then number 10, do that item. Basically. And that's was the 10 tasks that they asked me to do this week. I know I just yapped a lot about it, but this is what we're here for. We're here to unlock their creativity. We're here to recover the inner artist in ourselves. We're here to heal that child in ourselves. And that is it. As you say, they are checking on the morning pages. I hope you are doing the morning pages. I'm doing the morning pages. This is your sign to get the book. Like, even if you're not getting the book, I hope some of these tips are helpful. And yeah, as far as my creative process, I have been writing so much. I've been writing songs, and I've been writing things that are very vulnerable, but also very like broad and very like, and I'm really proud of the things that I have written so far, because I do have this book coming out and I'm so happy for it. Like, it's my first piece, and people always tell me to treat the little things like big things. Well, it's not even people, a professor told me this one time. Treat the little things like it's big things, and treat the big things like it's little things. So that's what I'm doing. It's a big deal, but it's a little task, and that's how you get through it. That's how you push aside all those anxiety, things like that. So yeah, continue doing the morning pages. I did it every morning. Now, it's one morning I only did 1.5 page, but I still got up and I still wrote something. Artist date, as far as the artist date this week, I went to the coffee shop. Well, it's a bakery. I went to like a bakery, cafe, whatever, and I honestly had a good time there. I spent like an hour and a half there. I had me a little pastry, and I talked to this girl who worked there. She was so nice, so sweet. Met her. I love meeting new people. I really do. I absolutely love chatting it up with people, because I'm just a expressive person. I'm an open-minded person. So anybody who has like the time and the energy, who have that good energy, who just open, regardless of their intention, well, not regardless of their intention, but regardless of their I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, I just love chatting it up. And I met this amazing girl on a, you know, artist day to find, and while I was there, I was just writing some stuff in my journal, and I was just really just taking the time to soak in the atmosphere. I was people watching, like I was just in the moment. That's like one of my favorite things to do. So other than that, that is it. It did ask me what was an issue this week that I consider significant for my recovery, and I think I've written this down somewhere. An issue was realizing that when you are alone, really you're just that when I thought was loneliness, the more and more I grow and learn, the more I understand that that is when true loneliness comes. So basically, what I thought was loneliness and what I thought was being alone is nothing considered to what it truly means to be alone when you start growing and when you start expanding out of different circles and out of different areas of your life. That's when true loneliness kicked in. That's when I'm starting to feel. But I gotta keep going, because how else will I get there? Sometimes it's lonely at the top. But that's all for today, folks. That is all for today. That is my Artist Way week 2 segment, and like I said, I'm hanging in there because I really want this, and I appreciate you if you watch this entire video. I know it's long, I know it's lengthy, it's raw, it's real and authentic. This me. I'm talking with basically little to no cuts. That's it. Bye. Thank you.